want you to dream big, because dreams will take you beyond the barriers of that timid, safe thinking. Now, you get started by simply deciding that it's time to quit planning, quit thinking, and just jump into doing. Yes, it is necessary for you to set goals. I realize that. Goals that are clearly imaginative enough to lead you through the process of turning those dreams into reality.
Wow, it's always awesome to hear words of wisdom from Mary Kay, and I think that this is a great way to continue our leadership meeting, of course, than to hear from Mary Kay, our beloved founder and leader. Well, as we just saw from the video, Mary Kay was the ultimate dreamer, and she created this company so that you could make your dreams come true. Now, let me ask all of you out here today, do you have a dream? Okay, did you once have a dream, but maybe you lost it somewhere along the way? You don't have to answer to that. The good news is that if that's the case, we're gonna help you create that dream, or maybe help you rediscover your dreams, your purpose, your passion, your why. Today, we're gonna talk about being worthy of success and achieving your dreams, or maybe repurposing them. But more importantly, we're gonna hear from someone who has learned some things on her journey that she would love to share with you. This sales director didn't take the traditional Mary Kay route to stardom. Let me tell you a little bit about her. Independent, elite, executive, senior sales director Julie Weaver accepted the Mary Kay opportunity in May of 1982 and debuted as a sales director 5 years later. And let me tell you just a few of her accomplishments. She qualified for 11 top sales director trips, including 7 of the prestige trips. She's been in the top 10 of her seminar 9 times. She's led her unit to the $1 million circle of excellence, not 1 time, but 5 times. Her highest in the $1.1 million circle, and of course, she's been a top 10 sales director nationwide. She's been runner-up to the Queen of Unit Sales for her seminar 3 times. And listen to this, Julie's highest monthly commission check is over $23,000. Can you get excited about girl-size pay like that? Now, please welcome to our stage, independent, elite, executive senior sales director, Julie Weaver.
When the company first called me to ask me to teach this class, I laughed and thought about coming out here in a turtle suit with a crown on to give you all hope. I have certainly not taken the fastest road to success. I tell my people all the time, you do not have to take as long as I did to get where I am. But when I told my offspring sales directors about the call to teach this class and about how they wanted somebody who had been on and off course to reach it and to teach it, my offspring said, Julie, you may not have taken the fastest road, but you have taught us how to create an amazing life along the road to success. And you know what? Though I would love to be talking with you today as a national sales director, which has been a goal of mine for a long time, I can truly say that I can look back with no regrets. I first joined Mary Kay in 1982. I was 18. I had no responsibilities all the time in the world to work my Mary Kay business, but I fell flat on my face. Why? Because I did not have a big enough why. Some people refer to it as a need, a dream, a passion, a burning desire, or a purpose. Oh, I'd seen the big picture, you guys. I mean, after all, I came to my first seminar at 17 years old and stood on this very stage as my mother debuted as a national sales director. I knew that if I worked my Mary Kay business, it could lead me to stars, cars, diamonds, trips, and financial freedom. And you know it too. But why is it not enough to just know something? More people succeed with passion and imagination than all the knowledgeable people in the world put together. Albert Einstein said, "Imagination is more important than knowledge, for knowledge is limited to all we know and understand, while imagination embraces the entire world and all that there ever will be to know and understand." So you can set a goal year after year and not come any closer to reaching it if you haven't found your why. So how do you find your why or make it big enough to move you into action? Your why usually develops from a problem. Think about it. You probably joined Mary Kay because you had a need, a problem, a passion that was not being fulfilled. So you made a decision, you put action behind it, you put your money on the line to fulfill your why. Robert Schuller says, "Problems are not stop signs, they're guidelines. Let your problems become your reasons instead of your excuses to finding your why." Now I'm going to ask you some tough questions in order for you to discover your why. Number one, what makes you happy enough to laugh out loud if you think about achieving it? Passionate enough to cry out loud if you thought about losing it. And courageous enough to fight all out to save it. That, my friends, is your why. And it has nothing to do with a goal, a car, a position, a unit club. Your why is your reason or your passion. Your goals evolve from your why. It is your reason, your passion. When I started working my Mary Kay business in 1987, I was working a full-time job. I had 2 children under the age of 2 in daycare all day long. My greatest desire was to stay at home and raise them. My problem was that I didn't make enough money to do that. Schuller says, again and again, the impossible problem is solved when we see that the problem is only a tough decision waiting to be made. Did you get that? When you make tough decisions, even during the easy times, the tough times become easier. When you choose to make easy decisions during the easy times, the tough times become tougher. So I knew my why. I knew I didn't make enough to stay at home with my girls. The tough decision was I willing to work my Mary Kay business to help me to afford my why, and then planned out my steps, then backed them with action. And I did. 4 months later, I earned the use of my first Mary Kay car. And 4 months after that, I debuted as a sales director. Then I started to struggle again. Why? Because the problem had been solved. It was a new chapter of my life, and I'd not found a new why or passion that I was willing to fight for. I had goals, but remember, a goal is not your why. A goal is simply a means to afford your why. Life was good. No, I wasn't where I wanted to be in Mary Kay. I wanted to be in a Cadillac, achieve a unit club, earn trips, and live the lifestyle of my dreams. But why wasn't just wanting it enough to make me really work for it? Why wasn't that enough? Why isn't it enough? Did you know that researchers have discovered that human beings will work harder to avoid pain than to achieve gain? Isn't that amazing? Thus, another problem is what it took for me to kick my business into gear. And so, like God, He solved that. It was March of 1990. I became pregnant with our 3rd child, and 1 month into my pregnancy, I was handed a pink slip. Overnight, Mary Kay went from being the backup plan to the only plan. We had a tough decision to make. Should Joe go back out to corporate America, look for a job, or could we raise our 3 children together with Mary Kay being our sole source of income? You see, I could have been working my Mary Kay business with that in mind the entire time. But that was 3 years later, after I debuted, and each year that I came back here to seminar, I had less production than I did the year before. The only other seat in the arena was on the roof. I was that high. Hear me when I say, what you resist will persist. Sometimes the longer you have been in the same business, the harder you find it to become truly passionate about something because you get comfortable. You don't want to go back into the field. I mean, after all, good grief, I have 8 independent offspring sales directors. Why do I need to go back out and hold a party? Do y'all get that way sometimes? My grandma used to say, you think you've gotten above your raisin? You spend so much time looking around at others and what you don't have that you forget to focus on what you do have, what you can do. The scoreboard is not a reflection of your worth. It is a reflection of your work. That happened to me this year. I had settled. I was tired. I kind of resigned myself that the position of national was not going to happen. I'd done $1 million, so yeah, I'll set a goal. But I knew that I was just going through the motions. I had no why. Then I almost lost my father this year. When I was sitting at his bedside in November in the hospital, he started telling me the list of what I needed to do when he passed away. The fight, the passion to save him was so strong that I thought if he gets well, I'm going to fight this hard to put him on this stage with me before I never get a chance to do it again. And then I was willing to do what I had been resisting for so long. I went back to work this year, holding parties, sharing the opportunity, and my unit caught my passion. They became engaged in my why, and it became theirs. Number 2, question to you is, once you find your why, what tough decision do you need to make that maybe you've been resisting? Do you need to go back into the field, holding parties each week, get help in your office or your home, do your 6 most important things to do list each day, make yourself accountable to something or someone that will hold you and hold your foot to the fire? It may be painful, it may be scary, but it takes guts to get out of the ruts. And nothing will change in your life until you change something you do daily. So what needs to change in your daily habits? Sometimes you have to quit being a director and go back to doing what you did in order to become a sales director in the first place. After Joe lost his job, I went back to work with passion and a why to earn enough money so that he could stay at home. From March to June, we finished our first unit club. The next seminar year, we achieved the $500,000 circle of achievement. Then we went on to earn the top director's trip, and there I stayed for several years. Not a bad place to be, but you guys, no matter what bar pin you wear or the car that you drive, if it is not where you want to be, you're dissatisfied. Douglas Horton says that change occurs in direct proportion to dissatisfaction. So if you're dissatisfied, that can be a good thing. It just means that you're ready to embrace change. But be sure that the changes are in the right place. Usually, the last place that we look to find the root of a problem or discover what really needs to change is in us. We want to fix the outside without fixing the inside. We think it's our unit, our training meetings, our contests, our systems. If I run this contest, if the economy wasn't so bad, if I lived in a larger town, and on and on and on. 99% of the time, the key is me. What do I need to change about me to fulfill my purpose or my why? Success is always an inside job. Dwight Moody said it best. I've had more problems with me than any other person I've ever met. Usually when I find my belief wavering, my goals being unmet, my dissatisfaction growing, my confidence shrinking, it's because I've lost sight of my why. The clarity of your vision or why and your skill level to communicate it to others are your most powerful tools. So how do you keep your why crystal clear, and how do you communicate it clearly to your unit and to others? You have to create a success environment. You've heard it said that people are a product of their environment. It's true. You become like that which you're around. So create an environment that supports your why. Trash your house with pictures of not just your goals, because we'll give up on our goals, but put your why, your purpose, the thing that can make you laugh, cry, or fight, because you guys, that won't go away. Write out a life and a business vision, a dream book with pictures and detailed descriptions, emotional descriptions of what your life is like when you're living your why. And then read it out loud every day. Proverbs 18:21 says, "The tongue has the power of life and death. Your words are either breathing life or death into your dream." Read positive books, and don't tell me, "Oh, I just don't read." That is the most ridiculous statement. You learned to read when you were in first grade. It's a muscle that must be worked. Listen to CDs. If you tell me what's the most popular song on the radio, it means you aren't feeding your mind. Turn the radio off. The company has incredible CDs of people who've gone before us, who know the way. You could hear one thing that can totally rock your business and your world. Because what you think about, you talk about. What you talk about, you bring about. And then your greatest tool of communication to grow the intensity and the power of your why is action. People may misunderstand your words, but they won't misunderstand your actions. Start pretending that you are already living the life of your dreams, and do the little things that you can do already. For example, in my why or my dream book for my life, I wrote down that I wanted to give a significant amount to support missions this year, to pay for my grandkids to go to a private Christian school, to create a haven of peace and of love in my home where people could come, to have fresh flowers in my home, to do lunch with friends, to have an outside arbor. I started by making a decision to give another $50 a week out of my personal sales money towards missions. I offered to pay for my 3-year-old granddaughter to go to a Christian preschool twice a week and to give her mom a break. I had a teenager whose parents were transferred out of state and offered for him to move in with us this year so that he could finish his senior year. Did I have the money to do all of that when I said yes? No. I made the tough decision. I put action and money where my mouth was. I put myself in a position to be held accountable, because I might let me down, but I won't let somebody else down. And then I went to work to make it happen. And you know what? The teenager found a relationship with the Lord while he lived in our home this year. He said he saw an example of a great marriage and what a home life could be. My income went up enough to double my giving. Not my income just with my unit, but my personal team building production was enough to earn an Equinox all by itself. I make it a habit when I go to the grocery store to pick up fresh flowers for myself. And every time I walk outside, it's like walking into a vacation, because this year on Mother's Day and my birthday, my husband built me the most incredible outside arbor. And I sit out there and I make phone calls. And my mom and dad will watch me walk across stage. They flew in today. And not only was my dad's life spared, but they will be here to see the dreams that they planted in me so long ago. And you know what I realized as I was walking out on the Hyatt roof today? I'm living my why. Everything I wrote down in my book, I'm now living. Why? Because I made the tough decisions. I made the changes in me that I needed to. I did the little things that I could do, like writing the checks in advance that kept my why crystal clear. I focused and I took action, and that communicated to others that I was serious about making it happen. John C. Maxwell says educators take something simple and make it complicated, while communicators take something complicated and make it simple. Let me repeat that. Educators take something simple and make it complicated, while communicators take something complicated and make it simple. Nobody else may understand your why, and that's okay, because your vision is the only one that counts. But everyone, you guys, everyone understands action and passion. And when you start acting, and I literally mean pretend like you've been hired for the greatest acting job of your life. Because if you wait until you believe it, oh my goodness, or understand it, or understand how it's gonna happen, because so many people, give me a plan, just tell me how. I don't understand how this could happen. You guys, I don't understand how a fax machine works, but I use it. You're gonna be waiting for a long time. You don't have to believe something before you act on it. You act on what you can do. So as Mary Kay Ash said, fake it until you make it. You act as if you're living out your why, and guess what? People will get it and want to join you in the process of making it happen, because people help support that which they help create, and people are always looking to be involved with something bigger than themselves. Everyone cannot be a champion player, but everyone deserves to belong to a championship team. Let your actions communicate to them loud and clear that you intend on winning a championship. And every action that you take towards the fulfillment of your why, no matter how small you think it is, will continue to bring you more power and more clarity to your vision, until one day you will look around you like me and you will be living your why, even if, like me, you took the long road. As they say, the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago. The next best time, today. Right now. You guys, it doesn't matter how long you've been a director. You can do amazing things. It doesn't matter that we're in the middle of a recession. I pulled up to the bank the other day, and I had my window down. I was in my CTS, and this guy in a red convertible was sitting next to me trying to make a deposit. And he leans over to me. You know how men look when we're in this car. And he leans over to me and he says, "How's the recession affecting your business?" I said, "Well, I'm up 42% this year. How about you?" He said, "That's flat out amazing. I would have thought that your business would have been affected by the recession." I said, "It is, because women depressed shop." As I said, it doesn't matter how long you've been a director. Maybe you're not a one-month wonder, but you know what? America wasn't built on one-month wonders. Mary Kay Ash wasn't built on a one-month wonder. Look at what she went through. Mary Kay Inc. wasn't built on one-month wonders. We applaud those of you who can go fast. I do. But you know what? Slow and steady at the wheel, nose to the grindstone. Fall off the wagon, get back on. Fall off, get back on. It doesn't matter. Tonight, you'll applaud me just the same. God is not standing there with a stopwatch, but He is watching. So don't let another day go by without finding out your why and why He put you in Mary Kay. To quote the words of our First Lady, Mary Kay Ash, she said, "Our company needs more leaders like all of you, who use their influence at the right times for the right reasons, who lead themselves successfully and continue to search for the best answers, not the easiest ones. We need leaders who add value to the people and to the organization they lead, and who work for the benefit of others and not just for their own personal gain. Leaders who inspire and motivate rather than intimidate and manipulate, who live with people to know their problems and live with God in order to solve them, who follow a moral compass that points in the right direction, regardless of the trends. Aren't those words needed more today than ever before? You were created to make a difference, to help others, to solve problems. That needs to become your why. And Mary Kay is the vehicle that God has given you to solve them. So don't just go home and set a goal. Look around you, see the problems, feel the problems, take on some of the other people's problems that need to be solved. Look at the difference that you need to make in you. What is it that you have been resisting for so long, that you feel is beneath you to go back and start again? I can remember after my mother debuted as an independent national sales director, and at that time, they were not allowed to have a unit, a personal unit. And then the rule came that they would let a national sales director take back on a unit for 1 year. Take back on what unit? They didn't have one. So my mother went out and held 10 parties in 1 week. She called me for referrals. I was not in Mary Kay at the time, or it was the sabbatical years. She called and said, "Julie, do you know of anybody that I could book a party with?" I was so humbled for her. They had 1 year to develop an offspring sales director, or they had to relinquish their unit again. I was the one sales director she developed that year. What if she thought she was too good, that she'd gotten too far to go back out and hold 10 parties in a week? What if she thought she was above asking her 20-something-year-old daughter for some referrals to have a party? I'd like to leave you with this prayer. I've learned to pray it a lot this year because it's been a difficult year. But you know what I've found in my journey? It's the difficult years that I refer to most often to grow. As someone said at this seminar, if the mountain were smooth, you'd be unable to climb it. It takes the rocks to get your footing. Dear God, please untie the knots that are in my mind, my heart, and my life. Remove the have-nots, the can-nots, and the do-nots that I have in my mind. Erase the will-nots, the may-nots, the might-nots. They may find home in my heart. Release me, God, from the could-nots, the would-nots, the should-nots that obstruct my life. And most of all, dear God, I ask that you remove from my mind, my heart, and my life all of the am-nots that I have allowed to hold me back, especially the thought that I am not good enough. Instead of, dear Lord, as your beloved child, as a child of the King, let my thought always be, why not me? God bless you on your journey, no matter how long that it takes.